fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at this set of 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the Loyal Subjects Best Action line. Now these 4 are based on their depictions in the IDW comics, and I want to start off by saying a huge thank you to Loyal Subjects for sending these to me for the purpose of this review. I'm really excited about these. Ever since I first saw these, I thought they looked fantastic. You don't get a lot of figures specifically based on the IDW comics, so when I heard they were doing these, I was really excited. And I want to start off here with this artwork on the side of the packaging. I love this. It looks fantastic. Also kind of reminds me of like a Choose Your Turtle from one of the video games or something like that. I think that looks so cool. But if we spin these around, so you can see, of course, we have Leonardo. You get the figure itself, you get an alternate head, you get a ton of accessories, alternate hands or things like that. And it also says that there is a limited edition collector card as well. So very, very cool. A little bit of different artwork over here on this side. And then over on the back, kind of a close-up of the figure and then showing off the accessories that are included. I'm really excited for these. That's Leonardo. Then, of course, we have Raphael, Michelangelo, and last but certainly not least, Donatello. So again, very excited to check these out. I'm going to go ahead, get them all out of the packaging here, and we're going to take a closer look. So here are the 4 figures out of the packaging. I think aesthetically they look fantastic. We don't see a lot of figures for how they're depicted in the IDW comics, and I think Loyal Subjects has done a really good job here kind of bringing those designs to life. I wanted to do a quick group shot of the 4 turtles together, but then I think I'm going to take a look at them individually. So we'll start with Leonardo. So each of the figures have pretty good articulation, and the articulation is pretty similar amongst all 4. You have the head on a ball joint, so you can look down, can look not really up all that much, but pretty much level there. Spin side to side, no problem. Can even tilt side to side pretty well. You have the bandana here. Now, he does come with 2 different bandanas and 2 different heads. So here we have kind of like a battle, ready expression with just whites for the eyes. And I've always preferred the look of just having the white in the eyes, not really seeing the pupils. But if you do prefer that look, they do include a head here that does have the pupils. And then you have these 2 different like bandana tail pieces. They come separately in the packaging, so you can mix and match those. You can pop them off, switch them around, use whatever bandana with whatever head, which I think is really cool. Gives you a lot of customization options there, which I appreciate. Then you have kind of a butterfly joint here in the shoulder. You have a hinge, about that much. It's not as far as you might like it to go up, but there is a hinge there in the shoulder. Bicep swivel. Then you have double jointed elbows, which work pretty well there. You have a rotation and a hinge in the wrist, and you can pop off the hands. He does come with some different hand options that I'll show off in a moment. And I really like these kind of forearm bracers. I think those look really cool. Of course, you have the belt here, has some pockets molded in with the strap, and then you have a spot for both of his katana, which I think look really good. They did a nice job with these. They're very nicely painted. So you have some nice silver paint there for the blade, some black down here for the handle. And then they fit very simply into the holsters here on the back, which looks really good. I don't think there's anything in the waist in terms of articulation, but you do have really nice ball joints down here for the hips. Kick out to the side. Kick decently forward, a little bit back before it starts to hit into the shell. You have a thigh swivel, double jointed knees there, and then you have a rocker for the ankle. Now, I can't tell if they have front to back movement, but mine don't seem to want to move front to back all that much, so I've pretty much just been using the ankle tilt to kind of get some movement out of that. I really can't tell. That feels like there must be a hinge in there. Yeah, because now I'm getting a little bit of play out of that. There we go. Okay, so they do have a hinge, so you can move that around. But even just the detail, I mean, all of this detail here, like for the wrappings, I think looks really good. The texture of the skin. The shell, I think, has some really nice texture to it as well. And like I said, just the little details of kind of molding in extra pockets and things like that. It's a good look. It's a good figure. I'm going to go ahead and pop the katana out here and show you how to pop them into the hands. Pretty simple. Just slide it in. It can be a little snug for really just the, bottom of his 3 fingers. I don't know why that is, but There we go. Get that through there. And the other thing, like I said, he does come with a ton of accessories. So he has these cool little effect pieces that you can actually just slide over top of the blades. If my depth perception will allow me to line that up. I think that's really cool. So you have this like swooshing through the air effect. I think that's really neat. I like that quite a bit. There's one for each of the blades. So if you'd like to put it on both blades at the same time, you can certainly do that. He also comes with these two shorter blades, which are kind of detailed the same way with the silver paint and the black. Now, I guess technically you could probably pop these in here. No, they're a little bit thicker, so actually these don't want to pop in. Yeah, so they won't fit in there, but you can pop in the hand here fairly simply. There we go. So if you wanted to give him one long blade, one short blade, two short blades, two long blades, you have a lot of options there, which I think is pretty cool. And then let's get into his other hand options here. So you have kind of like a large open set of hands, maybe for posing, some kind of stance, something like that. And just so you can kind of see, you have a hinge here. And then you can pop those in. They're kind of super tiny little nubs to connect into the wrist, but they do secure pretty snugly. And then you have another set of hands. Now I'm wondering if these are easier to slide the weapons in and out of. Yeah, they're a little bit easier. So maybe I'll switch to those. Something like that. So you kind of have two hands that can kind of grasp the weapons. Or two sets of hands, I should say. But they're kind of snug regardless of which you pick. And then also it does come with that trading card, so I wanted to show that off. Nice little bit of artwork there. And then has kind of like a little bio about him on the back. So that's kind of cool. So, nice figure. Really looks good. I like the accessories. Like I said, it's a ton of accessories. They all kind of have their primary set of weapons and then like an alternate set of weapons, which I think is pretty cool. I will say this is definitely, maybe, definitely maybe, not the set of hands I should be using for those because they're pretty tight. But he looks good holding the weapons. I love him in the holster there. I love the like angry battle face with the bandana. I think that looks really good. So yeah, just all in all, I think Leo is a very solid figure. I think he's my favorite turtle, I gotta be honest. So this is probably my favorite out of the four. But definitely looks really good. Up next we have Raphael. Definitely a larger, kind of bulkier, wider figure than Leonardo. If I kind of put them next to each other, you can see that Raph definitely has kind of a larger, wider, more like barrel-shaped chest, which I think totally makes sense for the character. And you can also see that he is just a little bit darker shade of green than Leonardo. I like it when they do the turtles in different shades of green. I think that really works. So I like that here. But yeah, Raph looks really good. Now, unfortunately on mine, he has some lipstick on his teeth. So there's a little bit of black paint there on the teeth, which is kind of a bummer. And it looks like the eyes are a little misaligned. It looks like they probably should be a little higher up. But ultimately, it still looks pretty good. And he's got all the same articulation with the ball joint here for the head. And I love the, like, tails of his mask there. Now, his alternate head has the pupils, kind of a just generally grumpy expression. And then this is the other set of bandana tails here that you can choose from. So like I said, you can mix and match if you want. But honestly, both heads are pretty good. Like I said, I usually prefer just the white for the eyes, but I might have to switch to this one just because the paint's a little off on this one. But he's also got this bandolier of shuriken, which I really like. And you can take this off, so if I pop the head off, which is honestly very easy to do. Well, I say that and then I can't. Leo's was really easy to pop off. There we go. Oh, I sent a sigh flying, so let me take these off. And then you can literally just pop this right off. And it's very simple to pop on and off. But I think that's pretty cool. He's got a little bandolier of shuriken there. That's a really cool accessory. I had him holding these tonfa. I'm going to go ahead and just take these out temporarily as well. So I can pop this head back on. You can see it's a really big ball joint. And then you just pop this back on. Honestly, it's easier to pop on than it is to pop off, which I guess is good. But yeah, so he is a bit of a, like I said, wider, kind of stockier frame, but he has all the same articulation. I feel like his shoulder joints work really well, and I find that with larger figures, the shoulder joints tend to be a little bit more stable. So because he's a little bit bigger, I think he's just got a little bit more in terms of, I don't know, I guess just the larger joints tend to work a little bit better. But butterfly joint there, same bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. Everything else is the same. But he looks great. Again, detail in the shell looks fantastic. He's got two sai, which you can pop here on the back. Where's the other one? I flung it over there. That looks great. I love that. It almost looks like he's got like where they would traditionally be stored here on the chest, but those are just kind of molded in. You can't actually fit anything there. Which, I mean, would have, I guess maybe because the sai are so large, they would have kind of gotten in the way of the arm. So that's probably why they chose to put them here on the back. But honestly, I don't mind. Different adaptations. Sometimes they put them on the front. Sometimes they put them on the back. I'm fine with either. As long as there's somewhere to store them and it looks good. And I think they've accomplished that here. The sai look pretty good. Nice silver paint. A little bit of red there. Go ahead and pop these in his hand. There we go. Fits pretty well. Now if I can get him to stand. There we go. I did mention earlier that he has the tonfa as well, which I think they did a pretty good job. You actually see wood grain molded in there, which is really impressive. I like that quite a bit. And you can easily slide these in like from the bottom and have him equip those. You can also put these in the back if you would rather put them instead of the sai. If you'd rather have him hold the sai, he can put these on the back. You can mix and match whatever you want. I do like that. I think that's pretty cool that you can hold either weapon you choose. Let's see. We have these sets of hands. So I'm assuming these are meant to hold the sai. Is that what we're doing with this? I think so. Because I know a lot of times he likes to hold them like in between his fingers. I don't know. I feel like one of these sets of hands is definitely meant to do this. I just have to figure out how it's supposed to go. But I feel like it's probably this one, honestly. But then they have the thumb down there really far, so that kind of makes it difficult. But I feel like this has to be meant to do this, right? I mean, let me try one of the other ones. Yeah, I don't know. I appreciate this, but I feel like that thumb comes down a little too far, and it makes it kind of hard to load these in. But I assume that's what has to be going on here. But it's just kind of difficult. And see, I'm starting to rub paint off, which I was kind of afraid of. So yeah, I'm really not sure. But I feel like that's definitely what that's supposed to be doing, because, you know, that's how he holds the sai. So it's possible, and you have a set of hands for that, which I appreciate. But because of the way that thumb's molded, it's a little difficult. I might be able to just kind of push it out of the way, but I'm not going to do it right now. Then you have another set of hands. These are kind of like, I think, stylized kind of, you know, karate posing hands. But either way, I really like the figure. I like the weapons here. They fit pretty easily into these hands. I gotta stop saying that because every time I do it, I have trouble, but they really do. They fit pretty nicely. And then I appreciate that you can store either weapon here on the back. So if you want to use the tonfa, store the sai, vice versa, one of each, however you want to do it, you can absolutely pop these in here. And I think that's really cool. So yeah, I like the look. And I do like that bandolier of shuriken. I think that's really cool as well. I think it's very simple to pop it on or off, so I appreciate that. Maybe if you have them going into like a special heavy-duty mission. The only problem with mine is that I do have that little bit of the paint misaligned on the head. But honestly, you know, from not super close up, is it super noticeable? Not really. I mean, yes, the eyes should probably be a little higher, but I don't notice the teeth as much. But either way, I think he looks good. I think they did a good job. He's definitely the wider, stockier design that he should be. Yeah, I like this one quite a bit. Oh, let me show off his trading card real quick, because I almost forgot to do that. Very cool. Next up, we have Michelangelo, and again, we have a different shade of green, one that I think really complements his orange bandana coloring. I like that quite a bit. You have a spot here on the back. I believe these are supposed to hold the nunchuck, but then you also have these pockets here on the front, so I'm not really sure. The only other accessories that he comes with are these kind of like sickle version of the nunchuck. They're still kind of nunchuck, but they have the blade that pops out on the side. And these don't really, I mean, they'd fit in here, but they don't really make sense to pop these in here. So I gotta be honest, I'm not 100% sure what these front pockets are for. If I take these out, I guess I could pop one of these in here. They're even kind of snug for them, so I don't really know what these are for. Maybe there's accessories that are from something else or from a future release or something. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe he's just meant to keep pizza rolls in there or something. I don't know. It's Mikey. But again, we have the great battle cry expression. I also like how he has kind of a tinier set of bandana tails, which just really fits his character. I think they did a good job there. For his alternate head, he's got kind of like a winking smile face, which again, totally suits the character. And if you want to mix and match the bandana tails again, you can absolutely do so. So let me pop these weapons out of the back. They store pretty easily in there. They are all the way through, so if you wanted to feed them in from the bottom or vice versa, you could do that, so you have that option. I feel like they hang a little low. I kind of wish they were higher up so that they were maybe connected to the belt in maybe like the midsection of this pocket, but that's a minor nitpick. Really cool detail there on the shell. I like that quite a bit. Now his head, I've noticed, he doesn't have as much range for the ball joint in terms of that it can't really move front to back all that much. It can certainly spin side to side, no problem. And you can kind of tilt it side to side. But I can't get a ton. He can look down decently, but I guess he can't really look up all that much. I guess that's kind of similar to the others. The other thing I will say is because his arms are very thin, he doesn't get to utilize the shoulder joint all that much. And I also think it has to do with the fact that like the cutout for this section here, so you have where the butterfly joint, you can see that it can't really go up because it doesn't have anywhere to go. The joint's there, you can see it there, but it doesn't get to move very much on it. And also because the arms are kind of thin, because he's a smaller character, I worry about, like, I can't grab a hold of this and try to use that to lever the shoulder up because that would snap off. So I can't do that. So it's a little difficult. This one's a little bit easier. I don't know why. Maybe it has to do with the cut of that spot. Because, like, I'm not describing it well, but this area here, the kind of cutout of the piece that the butterfly joint is on, I don't think that's cut in a way that will allow this to go up very much. Could just be a QC thing on mine. This bicep joint is a little loose on mine, but this arm over here is great. This one's a lot tighter, so it might just be a little QC issue on mine. You have the double jointed elbows. You have, again, the same kind of hinge and swivel there on the wrist. Really nice movement here on the hips. Thigh swivel, double jointed knees. And then I've noticed on most of these, you really kind of have to slowly work the ankles front to back. They will eventually start to move, but they're a little tight. But the side to side is no problem. And they've done a good job with the wrap on the arms and the feet. Like I said, the shell patterning I think looks great. So yeah, overall, I like Mikey. I just think mine has a few small QC issues, but it's still a really cool figure and it looks fantastic. And I said they really did a good job of capturing the character, especially with the fun winking smile face. I really like that a lot. He's also got like a pointing finger, which I think is really cool. Like he's taunting someone, or maybe he's pointing at the nearest pizzeria. I don't know. You also have kind of these open hands for posing. And then over on this side, you have a closed fist. So the pointing hand and the closed fist are both for his right hand. And then you just have these open hands. But a lot of times with the nunchucks, you know, he's like let's see if I can pull this off here. So we have one of the nunchucks in this hand. And then if I go and pop off one of these and pop on one of these, and as you saw, it's pretty simple to do that. You can kind of have like a pose like this. Something like that. Like he's kind of taunting with the one hand. And then he's getting ready to use the nunchuck with the other. Let's see if I can do, if I bring this in. Kind of tuck it under the armpit there. A lot of times. This is my de facto Mikey pose, is to pop one under the armpit there and then kind of do something like this with the other hand. So I think that's kind of cool. So I feel like that's what those posing hands are for. And then you can put the other one in the back here. And that works pretty well. So yeah, pretty cool. I love the coloring. I think the head sculpt is great. And I did mention these other, like, I don't know the names of these weapons, but it's like a nunchuck with a sickle on the end. So these are painted very nicely. I think they did a great job with these. I kind of wish these nunchuck had the same kind of chain that these have. Like I like the chain that's molded there, and then here it's just kind of like a cord. It's fine. I just think this looks a little bit better. And then here, of course, is his trading card. See, they're doing the same pose. That's the de facto Mikey pose. You got to have him grabbing one side of the nunchuck with the underarm. There you go. So that's the pose. But yeah, I like this. I think that's really cool. And I really like this head sculpt for him. Last but certainly not least, we have Donatello. He looks fantastic. Again, with that kind of different shade of green that I think really suits him. The purple looks fantastic. You got the bandana there. Really looking good. He is really upset. I love this face sculpt. He is ready to throw down. Teeth look really nice. The bandana, the eyes, all really nicely done. Really nice range of motion here. Yeah, Mikey's the only one that has kind of a stiff ball joint. So like I said, I'm really thinking it might just be a QC issue with mine, because all the others don't really have that issue. Got the staff back here in the holster. Pop that out. Whoops, I popped out. I will say the connection for Donnie's bandana tails, it feels like it doesn't snap. I mean, it snaps in, but it just seems like you can knock it off pretty easily, where the other ones are a little bit more secure. But it's not a problem. Like, once I snap it in, it's not going to fall out. It's weird. It's like, you can feel it snap in, but it also feels like it should be a little bit more secure. Also, he has this almost metal looking shell, which is pretty fantastic. I really like the look of that. And maybe that's something from the lore of the comics that I don't know. But really, really very cool there. I remember, I don't want to do spoilers, but I remember something happened to him at one point, and he was forced to deal with that. I don't want to spoil anything in case anyone hasn't read the IDW comics, but there was a very significant moment for Donnie at one point. But yeah, the bow staff looks fantastic. That is really, really good. And just all in all, he looks great. Here is his other head. Definitely a cheerier face with the pupils there. And then you have the head tails. And again, if you want to mix and match them, you can switch them around. But it's... Hold on. This is Donnie before he's had his coffee. And there's Donnie after he's had his coffee. But yeah, two really great head sculpts, because it gives you options for like two completely different moods, basically. But yeah, this is a really great figure. I really like this one quite a bit. He also has this giant, like, almost like brass knuckle mitt looking thing, which just pops over the hands. It doesn't really snap in any way, but it's nice and secure. It kind of fits perfectly over the hand, and it doesn't move at all, which is really great, but you don't have to worry about trying to fit it into his hands. It just slides over top. So that's really cool. I like that accessory a lot, and that's done in this really nice silver paint. And then it has a little bit of blue here at the ends. And then also, he's got these cool goggles, which are really, really neat. Really nicely detailed and painted as well. You got that little bit of yellow and blue and red there. And then these, you can kind of just pop them over, and they will fit pretty simply over his eyes there. And they're nice and secure. They're not falling off or anything. So I really like all of his accessories a lot. Like I said, my only complaint is that I feel like the head tails don't snap in as much as I'd like, but they stay. I mean, they're not falling out or anything. But yeah, this is a really good figure. It's got all the same articulation as the other turtles. But yeah, he's great. He really, really looks good. I'm really happy with him. He has a closed fist for his left hand. Then he's got almost kind of like a using the keyboard hand, which I think makes total sense for him. And then he's also got some kind of karate posing, you know, stance hands, which I think are pretty cool. And then here is his trading card. So yeah, I don't know. Honestly, he might be beating out Raph for my second favorite. I think Leo's definitely still my favorite, but it's really close between Donnie and Raph for my second, because this just looks great. I mean, the more I handle this, the more I pose it, and I just really like this one quite a bit. I've always liked Donnie. I mean, I don't know. All the turtles are pretty great. But yeah, this looks really good. I like this a lot. I think these are really great. Honestly, there's a lot of different companies making Ninja Turtle toys in the market today, and I think it was smart of Loyal Subjects to go after the IDW designs, because that's definitely a niche that hasn't really been serviced yet, so I think that was really smart, and they've done a good job, honestly, making these look very faithful to the IDW designs. Really happy with how they turned out. You get alternate heads, you get different sets of weapons, you know, great articulation. Paint applications are usually pretty good for the most part. I have a couple small QC issue with my set. That little bit of paint on the teeth for your Raph here, and his eyes are probably set a little too low. And then I have kind of a QC issue with a little bit of a wonky arm for Mikey. But other than that, they're pretty solid. And I'm hoping those problems are not widespread and just on my copies here. But I really, really like how these turned out. And even with those few little issues, I feel like they still look fantastic when I put these on my shelf. This group shot here is still going to look really, really good. So I'm really happy with it. I wanted to say a huge thank you again to Loyal Subjects for sending these to me for the purpose of this review. And yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking into the rest of this line. I know they're doing some others. Shredder, I think they have a couple different versions of Shredder. There's a version of Raph with a motorcycle that I've seen a couple times. I see these at Target. I see them at Walmart. I know Amazon has them. So if you're looking to pick them up, definitely check those retailers. But yeah, I really like these a lot. And like I said, it was really smart to go after a version of the Turtles that hasn't already been kind of spoken for on the market, and I hope that Loyal Subjects does pretty well with these, because I think they've done a pretty great job. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.